Have you ever wondered why the gods choose the least expected among us? Why, when everyone looks to the wealthy, the beautiful, and the powerful, fate turns its gaze on the forgotten, the overlooked, the poor? Tonight, I will tell you a story that still lingers in the whispers of elders by the fireside. A story of a poor farmer's daughter, a girl with nothing, yet chosen above all others by the goddess of the river. If only they knew why. Long, long ago, in a quiet village in the heart of Africa, there lived a poor farmer named Olamide. He was a man in his late 50s, tall but bent with years of hard labor under the burning sun. His hands were rough like tree bark, his back curved from bending over his farm every day. His hut was simple, just clay walls and a patched roof of straw that leaked when the rains came. His clothes were little more than torn wrappers and faded tunics. Yet despite his poverty, his heart was rich in kindness. Olamide had only one treasure in this world, his daughter, Amina. She was just 18 years old. Her beauty was not the painted beauty of fine clothes or golden beads, but the natural kind that shines from within. Her eyes sparkled with innocence, her laughter carried warmth, and though she owned only two simple wrappers, one for daily work, one for special days, she wore them with dignity. She often walked barefoot to the river, balancing clay pots on her head, humming songs that made children follow her in delight. But the days were growing harder. The river, once wide and strong, had grown shallow. Fish were fewer. The crops withered. The people began to whisper, "The goddess is displeased." Fear settled over the village like a dark cloud. Each year, the villagers gathered at the river to give offerings, bowls of yam, roasted meats, beads, and even goats, all cast into the waters to honor the goddess. She was said to be the mother of life itself, the one who gave children to the barren, rain to the farmers, and healing to the sick. But this year, the elders announced something that froze every heart. The goddess, they said, wanted more than gifts. She wanted a maiden. A young woman of virtue who would leave her family, her home, and live forever in the world of the river. The villagers gasped. Mothers clutched their daughters, fathers exchanged fearful looks. To give up a child was a heavy thing. But none dared to refuse, for everyone knew that to anger the goddess was to bring ruin to all. And so, the maidens of the village were summoned. They were to line up by the riverbank, and the goddess herself would come to choose. That night, the village could not sleep. Fires burned low, drums beat softly in the distance, and conversations rose and fell like restless waves. In the chief's compound, his daughters, dressed in coral beads and fine silk, whispered excitedly. "Surely she will choose one of us," one said, twirling her golden anklet. "After all, who is more deserving than the daughters of the chief?" In another corner of the village, the wealthy merchant's child sat polishing her ivory bangles. "The goddess will see my beauty," she boasted. "She cannot resist." But in Olamide's poor hut, Amina sat quietly in the shadows. Her father watched her with heavy eyes. "My child," he said softly, "tomorrow you must stand among them." Amina shook her head. "Father, why me? I have nothing. My wrapper is old. My feet are bare. The goddess will not even look at me." Olamide reached across the fire and took her hands, rough farmer's hands holding delicate fingers. "Amina," he said, "you may have nothing the world sees as precious. But the goddess sees deeper than we do. Even if she passes you by, walk with your head high. For dignity is wealth, and purity is beauty." Tears filled Amina's eyes. She laid her head on her father's shoulder. And as the cricket sang in the night, she whispered, "If the goddess truly sees the heart, then let her see mine." The next morning, the entire village gathered by the river. The air was thick with tension. Drummers lined the shore, beating rhythms that echoed in every chest. Elders wore their finest robes, staff in hand, beads clattering. Women wore wrappers of every color, red, yellow, green, blue, while men wore animal hides, cowrie necklaces, and painted markings on their faces. The maidens stood in a long line, each dressed in white cloth, cowrie shells braided into their hair. Some trembled, others smiled proudly. Amina stood among them, her wrapper faded, her hair in simple braids. Compared to the others, she looked plain. Some of the girls glanced at her and laughed under their breath. "Why is she here?" one whispered. "The goddess will never choose a farmer's daughter." Another smirked, "Maybe the goddess needs someone to carry her firewood." Amina heard them, and her cheeks burned. But she remembered her father's words and lifted her chin. Suddenly, the drums stopped. Silence fell. The river, still and calm only moments ago, began to ripple. A cool breeze swept over the crowd. Then, the waters rose. Out of the river came light, shimmering like liquid gold. From that light, a woman emerged. She was breathtaking, taller than any man, her skin glistening like water in sunlight, her hair flowing like riverweed crowned with pearls. She wore a robe of liquid silver, moving as though woven from waves. Around her neck hung shells that glowed softly. Her eyes were deep, endless like the ocean. She stepped forward, walking on the water as if it were solid ground. The maidens gasped. Some bowed their heads. Mothers covered their faces in awe. The goddess's voice roared out, smooth yet powerful, like the rush of 1,000 streams. "I have come," she said, "to choose." Slowly, she began to walk down the line of maidens. Her eyes lingered on the chief's daughters, who bowed gracefully. But she walked past them. She glanced at the merchant's child, shining in gold bangles. Still, she walked past. One by one, she passed the maidens, the proud, the wealthy, the beautiful, until she stopped before Amina. The poor farmer's daughter froze. Her heart hammered in her chest. The goddess raised her glowing hand, and gently laid it upon Amina's forehead. The crowd erupted in gasps. "Impossible," someone shouted. "Ah!" Mothers cried out. Fathers shook their heads. The goddess lifted her voice, clear and commanding. "This is the one I choose. The one with no pride. The one with a pure heart. The river does not see wealth, nor the beauty of cloth. The river sees only the spirit." Amina's knees weakened. "Me? But I am nothing," she whispered. The goddess smiled, her eyes soft. "Child, you are everything the world forgets to see. Do not fear. You were born for this." Before their eyes, the goddess clothed her in a robe of deep blue silk, brighter than the sky, flowing like water itself. Golden beads appeared around her neck, anklets charmed like bells at her feet, and a crown shimmered on her head, drops of water glittering like diamonds. The villagers fell silent. The poor girl they mocked now looked like a queen beside the goddess. The goddess turned to the people. Her voice thundered like storm waves. "You, who judge by riches and beauty, hear me. The earth does not yield to gold. The river does not flow because of wealth. Blessings come not from pride, but from humility, kindness, and truth of heart." With that, she took Amina's hand and drew her into the river. The waters rose high, spinning in a great whirlpool, then fell silent again. Both were gone. The villagers stood in shock. Some wept in shame. Others bowed their heads. Olamide dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his weathered face. His daughter was gone, but his heart swelled with pride. She had been chosen, not because of riches, but because of who she truly was. From that day on, the river overflowed with abundance. Fish returned, crops flourished, children were born healthy, and peace filled the village. And often, when villagers came to the river, they swore they heard Amina's laughter dancing in the ripples. She had not been taken away as punishment, but honored forever as guardian of the waters. And so the story lived on. If only they knew why the goddess chose the poor farmer's daughter, they would have seen that true wealth is not in gold, but in the purity of the spirit. So, dear friends, remember this: never look down on anyone because of their poverty or appearance. The unseen heart carries more power than the finest cloth, the grandest house, or the heaviest purse of gold. Even the gods, like the river goddess, choose not the proud, but the humble.